This is my 2003 Gibson Les Paul Smartwood Exotic. What's up YouTube? My name is Nick and this video is just a little quick showcase of my Gibson Les Paul. I'd like to show off. So this is a 2003 Smartwood Exotic made in the Memphis plant, the Memphis Gibson plant. It features a mahogany body, a two-piece mahogany body, mahogany neck, Gibson Pearl logo headstock. The Smartwood Studio series has a gummy textured truss rod cover with a green leaf on it. This has a Kurupe top, which is an exotic rainforest wood that's sustainable or renewable. I got this guitar about May 4th of 2020, right after COVID had started, kicked in. I hunted this guitar down on Reverb for $700 even. The Smartwood Studio series features a full thickness Gibson body, unlike the Smartwood Exotics, which have a thin Gibson body and a comfort carve up here by the belly. This is a wonderful guitar. It has beautiful sustain, beautiful resonance, and beautiful tone. It's an all-around sick guitar. So, a brief history of these guitars. Are a subunit of the Gibson Les Paul line. The Smartwood Exotics were made from roughly like 98 to 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. And those were very similar guitar, but with a thin Gibson Les Paul body. It had it was an extra ½ inch thinner or more than that thinner. And it had a comfort carve on the back. This is the Smartwood Studio, made in 2003 in the Memphis plant at Gibson. This is a beautiful guitar. I bought it off of Reverb from Righteous Guitars. I bought it from Ben Calhoun. He's featured in a lot of Rhett Shull's videos where he goes to Righteous Guitars, and he's got a lot of episodes about picking out guitars, picking out amps, plex, string buzzing, stuff like that. Very cool, very awesome shop, and Ben is a great guy, wonderful gentleman who sold me this guitar. I bought this for $700 even. And the reason it was so cheap was it was described as fair condition, and it had some issues with the hardware. The hardware was almost like toast. The tuners were okay, but the bridge and Tune-O-Matic bridge and tailpiece were pretty much corroded. The pickup covers have been taken off. The gold covers were removed. There's a lot of wax and rust on the pickups. And the one of the pickup rings was the wrong size. It was, both of them were the short pickup rings. So it was described as fair condition, but much to my delight when I got the guitar, the wood and neck and frets were wonderful. All I had to do was polish and repair one little mark on the, I think the 20th fret. There was like a little divot or a little bump or something. Anyway, I was able to sand that out and polish it back to normal, and it plays good. All it did was affect bending. This guitar rips, dude. It plays great all the way up the neck. It's got the classic 12-inch Gibson radius. Some notable features about this guitar are the pearloid Gibson logo, because it's a studio model, but it's still got the badass Gibson logo. It's got a gummy textured truss rod cover with a leaf on it. And for those that don't know, these Smartwoods, they don't make this series anymore, but it's basically a very plain Les Paul with no binding and just dot inlays, but it's got the mahogany neck, mahogany body, awesome neck. It's got the standard like 59 profile or whatever on the neck. It's a little chunkier than my Warmoth Strats. It's nice, I love it. And the fretboard is made out of some recyclable rainforest wood. I don't know the name of the wood, but it's some hard to pronounce exotic species, and it's beautiful. It's real dark, beautiful fretboard. And the top is made out of Curupay, C-U-R-U-P-A-Y, Curupay. And I love this guitar, and the reason I sought out one of these was, it's one of the cheapest Les Pauls you can actually get, and it was very fairly priced. They're going up in value now after COVID. I bought this right at the beginning of COVID last year in 2020, around May, about exactly a year ago. I bought this guitar, but the prices have been climbing. If you reverb search the word Smartwood, you'll see probably a couple of these, and the prices are, people want $1,000 to $2,000 for them. But if you look at Reverb's like average sale price and value for them, they're worth somewhere in between $700 and like $900. So don't overpay for one of these. They should be significantly cheaper than like a Les Paul Standard or even a Studio. You should be able to get this for under $1,000 or under $900. Maybe not anymore, but under $1,000, let's say, you should pay. I wouldn't pay more than $1,000 for one of these, just out of principle. But they're every bit as good as any other Gibson Les Paul. They're made, same way. And some standout features about this guitar. I love the no binding and all that. I love the fact that it just is all natural. I mean, it's got like some wear here, but the top, there's no defects in the wood at all on this guitar, even in the headstock. It's all like in very good condition. So I was surprised when I got it, it didn't have any like major dings or anything. It's in great condition, but the hardware needed to be essentially replaced. These are the Gibson 490 R and T pickups. They sound great. Yeah, the pickups on this guitar sound great. Like I said, the 490 R and T Gibson humbuckers. The original owner, I guess, took the gold pickup covers off of this, and it looks a lot better with the full gold hardware on it. So, like I was mentioning earlier, I had to replace the bridge, and the bridge was really corroded to the point where the saddles were starting to lose their integrity. So I went ahead and got a Godo Nashville style 2-pneumatic bridge. I wanted to put quality hardware on it, obviously. This is an aluminum Godo tailpiece as well, which I believe adds to the sustain and resonance of the guitar. So those are two welcome additions. Unfortunately, you can't get these aluminum stop tail pieces in gold, so I had to go with chrome. And since I was replacing one item with chrome, I went chrome on the bridge. And I said, while I'm swapping out electronics and parts in this guitar, let's go ahead and replace the Gibson knobs. I don't really care for the brown, the original style of knobs that are found on most Gibsons. I prefer these clear knobs. I think they look cool. You know, just something a little different, I guess. I've seen them on some of my favorite guitarists, like Tim Mahoney. I think he's got clear knobs on his guitar, so I went with that. Other hardware parts I swapped out. Obviously, we got the Dunlop strap lock systems, which I put on all my guitars. The only guitar that I don't have strap locks on is a bass, and I've got shallers on there. Don't really care for the shallers. I like the Dunlop system, even though it pokes out a little bit from where the strap connects. I feel that it's a better system. It's more, I guess it's more streamlined and elegant looking, you could say. But yeah, so we've got Gibson Les Paul Smartwood, Curape top, all natural. Looks like wood binding down there. It's just a wood top, no actual binding on the guitar. You've got the mahogany body, mahogany neck. I believe it's like a two-piece body. Jacks were good. Pots and switches are good. The switches were not that corroded, so I left that for now. Gibson's got good enough hardware where you don't need to swap it out, unlike maybe say an Epiphone where you'd want to change out the hardware on that. Here's the vintage style Gibson tuners, the Clusen plastic, which I like the best as far as Gibson tuners go. And then you got the tropical wood fingerboard, which it's not ebony or rosewood or anything, but it's nice and dark, as you can see. It's got that almost like dark brown, like leather appearance. And then finally, the Gibson headstock. The nut is well cut, and you've got the mother of pearl or pearloid Gibson logo. The headstock was in fantastic shape. There's no ding. There's maybe like a little bit dings or something on there, but nothing to speak of. And then on the back, you've got Smartwood series stamped on every Smartwood guitar. You'll see that stamp. That's how you know it's a Smartwood. It's got that headstock stamp, and you've got the tropical wood, the dot inlays, and then on all the studio models, all the thick Smartwoods, you're gonna have that green leaf on the truss rod. It's like a gummy texture. On the other Smartwoods, on the skinny Smartwood Exotics, you'll have it just says Smartwood on the truss rod cover, and it's a normal plastic one. So I'll wrap this video up by telling you the story of my history with Smartwoods. My first ever Gibson guitar, after a couple of years when I started playing, you know, I had a band and we were taking things seriously and playing shows, so I wanted a Gibson. You know, I was into 311, I was into Weezer, so I said, I'm gonna get me a Gibson. It's like an off-brand guitar at the time, and then I think I had like an Epiphone Les Paul or something. I had a couple of cheaper guitars, but I wanted to upgrade to a Gibson. So summer or spring of 2003, I got on eBay, and my dad said I could buy myself a Gibson Les Paul or a Gibson guitar within reason, so try to keep it cheap. And I had heard from my drummer, he said that his old friends up in Pennsylvania, he had a band up there, and he said his guitarist had a Smartwood Exotic, and it was awesome guitar. It was a Gibson, but that you can get them for a lot cheaper than a regular Les Paul. So I set about hunting for one, and I found one on eBay in 03, and it was a 01 Smartwood Exotic, and it had the Muir top, M-U-I-R. It had prettier figuring than this. It had all the original hardware, and it was in immaculate condition. It came with the hard shell case, and when it came in the mail, I was just floored. You know, I was like, holy shit, this thing is amazing. And it had the original price tag on it, and it said $3,800 was what they originally wanted for that guitar. So I got it for $700 originally, $699 I think, maybe $799. It was $700 or $800 is what I paid for my original Smartwood. But I got that guitar, and as you can see, I'll show you real quick. These new ones come with a like a burlap type case, burlap sack material, and it's kind of cool. It kind of has a hippie vibe to it, and it's got black lining and the standard like Gibson, you know, silk or satin cover with the lining. But it's a Gibson case, but it's made out of, it's covered in some burlap material. That's what it's upholstered with. Whereas the original Exotics came in a standard brown Gibson case, and the guitars were so skinny they didn't even actually fit in the case. So you had to kind of put something underneath the guitar to get it to like rest in the case properly, but that's how they came from the factory. So long story short, I went through some, you know, struggles around 2012, and I'll just tell you, I was going through addiction, and I had a bad situation. I had a girlfriend, and we were strung out on heroin, and I ended up selling that Les Paul for $200, pawned it. And to this day, that's one of the biggest regrets I have when it comes to guitar gear, is pawning that Gibson Smartwood Exotic I told you about. I mean, it was an immaculate guitar with the case, all the documents and all that stuff, and I let it go for a quick $200, pawned it, thinking I'll get it out. I never got it out of the pawn shop, and within 90 days, you pawn something, it's gone. You know, they own it, and that guitar, disappeared back into the wilderness, wherever it is now. Somebody, that pawn shop got an amazing Gibson for $200, and I, probably spent that $200 in a day or two and just burned it up. And so that's really the reason I bought another one, was because I loved that guitar so much, and I wanted a replacement if I could. And I wasn't able to get the Exotics model, which is what I really want. I love this guitar, but I know that I'll keep hunting, and one day I'll be able to find an Exotic to kind of complete my collection. I'll have the studio model, the fat studio model, and the Exotic along with it. And it's just one of those things where you reacquire items that meant something to you along the way, stuff that you regret getting rid of. I've seen some other videos of people acquiring their old gear they had when they started, and it's a good feeling to have some of those things that you started playing with. I've been playing guitar since 2001, so about 20 years. And that's a great guitar. Like I said, to wrap up the video, one more thing about it is it's chambered. It has a chambered body, so it's very light. And I believe that the fact that it's still a solid guitar, there's no open cavities in it, but that it has a hollowed out insides, makes it even more resonant. I think that the more energy the strings have to vibrate, the less mass the guitar has, the more energy the strings will be able to retain as they're vibrating. That adds to sustain, it adds to the airiness of the tone, and it definitely adds to the playability and the way the guitar feels. It feels amazing when you strum a chord on that thing. So yeah, that's my Gibson Les Paul Smartwood Studio. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer it. I haven't seen many videos about the Smartwood on YouTube, so I figured I would make one showcasing mine and talk a little bit about my history with that guitar and the old Smartwood. So I thank you for watching, and please hit the like button and everything, and I will see you later.